morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites.
Hello.
This is Ifuma. What's the name of your channel? Ifuma's Canvas. Ifuma's Canvas. All one word on YouTube and on Facebook and on Twitter.
Yeah. All that.
And whose art are you featuring today on your shirt?
No, we're not even gonna talk about it.
But the other day I had on an Ifuma t-shirt, so this is the Ifuma in real life.
Right. This is that.
You can go see his artwork. So I got a question for you, Fabulites. What opens with Coming to America 1697 and what closes with Shadow Moon going to bed preparing to have his head busted open in the morning? Did you guess American Gods Season 1 Episode 2? If you did, you're correct. I'm about to do a quick recap review, or maybe not so quick, but we're about to do a recap review discussion, share our thoughts and ideas on the episode. Thank you for joining, liking, commenting, subscribing.
Hey, I got talked into it.
You got talked into it? All right, I need a better position. Okay, so we open with, just feel free to jump in. So we open with the spider enslaved men. One man is talking and praying to Anansi for help. Then a slickster suited in a hat.
Nancy, of course, is a spider. Okay. Yeah.
Right. But you know, at that point in the episodes, you don't necessarily know that Anansi is a spider unless you know the story of Anansi. For those of us who knew, we knew.
Right.
Okay, so then we get a slickster suited in a hat. And he says, your mom's dead, because the guy who had been praying was like, I don't know where my mom is, whatever. And the slickster lets him know your mom's dead. One of them threw her off the boat because she wouldn't give it up. Did you know your mama couldn't swim? You want help? Well, here's the story. Once upon a time, a man got fucked. Story of black folks in America. You don't know you're black yet. You're fucked. 100 years later, you're fucked. 100 years after that, you're fucked. 100 years later, you're still fucked.
Yeah.
You mad, man? Great. Set fire to this motherfucking ship. Let this MF burn. You dead already? You gotta die for something. You might as well let this MF burn. Let it burn. And you know what happened? The praying man who had become angry and he became angry. His chains were undone, and then all of the people were, help us. They were kind of talking. So he let everybody go. He lets all the people go, and then we get a shot of the boat, and we see that the boat is on fire. It's burning up. We see a long shot, and it's burning under the full moon. And then the last thing that we see of that opening sequence is a charred board kind of floating onto land, and a spider crawls off.
Yeah.
And the spider is kind of dressed like the slickster character, so we know it's the same person.
Iridescent.
Iridescent, blue and green. I liked his outfit. I thought you were going to say something about the clothes he was wearing.
Oh, he was dapper. He was sharp.
What generation was that? What year was that supposed to be? That's not 16. I don't know what he looked good.
He was dressed in, cause see the series, it goes from different periods. It goes into the future. And then it equates the future with the past and all that kind of stuff. So, it's difficult to know exactly where they're coming from.
Yeah, I just thought somebody might, if any of the viewers can identify what time period the Nazi character was dressed in, I would love to know, because he was sharp. Okay, so then the next scene, we have snow. We see a man hanging. There's blood spurting up, and Shadow Moon is being questioned while he is worked on medically. Was he shot at? No cop, says Shadow Moon. He's limping. He's beaten. There's still blood covering his whole body, and he shows up at Mr. Wednesday's door. Shadow asks him, what you do? And Wednesday is unaffected by Shadow's fucked upness, and he answers with various perspectives on his sexual encounter with a naked pizza-eating girl child on the bed. And Wednesday follows Shadow out, and Shadow, what's going on? You gotta get that. Man in the limo tells me to tell you he's reprogrammed reality. That's the guy, technology boy, who had hemmed him up the last time, at the end of the last episode. And I don't remember him getting hanged, but I think he must have got hung at the end of the last episode. But he says that the man in the limo tells me to tell you that he's reprogrammed reality. Wednesday, that little shit. Shadow, I need to know what's up. I was lynched. Wednesday is like, and here you are. Your salary is doubled. Hazard pay. Enjoy your first night of freedom. And don't think I'm not going to get back at him just because I'm not angry. An assault on you is an insult to me. I got a plan. That's what Mr. Wednesday says. Then we see Shadow in his, hotel room. He's running a bath. And he manages somehow to get into the tub. It's like a struggle. You can tell he is in a lot of pain. And he takes off his wedding ring. So we know he's processing the, how his wife died, how she made her transition.
Y'all know how that happened, right?
Yeah, they should know from the last episode we heard. You still, if Uma's still upset, he mad. And then we see him sleep. And then next, a woman walks into the room and we realize that it's Laura, his dead wife. And she says, I'm not dead, you're just having a bad dream. And so that's the end of that scene. So this is kind of like the second time that we've seen him have these sleeping dreams that seem to be like psychic. Like, so it makes me think, although I know because I already read a review for the current episode, I already know his wife, is going to be back. But it made me think, oh, okay, we could see the coming back of his wife already in this episode. Okay, so then the next scene, we see Shadow. He's standing outside of the house, and then he goes inside the house. As he goes in, there's mail on the floor. You can tell somebody hadn't been in the house for a few days. And then there's the setup for his welcome home party. He sees a vision of Laura, his dead wife, in the kitchen, and he sees her in the bed. He's packing up the places. We keep getting shots. We get 1 shot, we get 2 shots, we get 3 shots of the banker's box from the coroner's office. Finally, he opens the box. In the box, he finds a plastic bag with her wedding ring, and he finds her cell phone. So he looks through her text messages.
Oh, no.
He's scrolling through the conversation. I assume it's the conversation with his best friend. And sure enough, there's the dick pic. So it's confirmation and evidence that there was something going on. The wife wasn't just tripping. His dead wife's best friend. So he cleans the place out, and he's scrubbing and cleaning till he's bleeding. So you can tell, now he might just be crazy, but you get the sense that he's in distress.
He's violated.
He's violated. He upset.
He was violated. He felt violated. It was like my best friend
and my
wife, and they couldn't even wait. They couldn't even wait till I get to the jailhouse.
And then we find, I didn't know it was it, but we find out that he's been in jail for 3 years. I don't know how long he had been married or anything, but at the end of this episode, I found out that he had been in jail for 3 years. So then we see him standing back outside of out of the front of the house like he was at the beginning of the scene. And it's a moving truck that's full, and that pulls off. And then behind the truck is Mr. Wednesday. And Wednesday is like, look, I got to say this and it's going to hurt. You're going to want to punch me. But the word on the street is that your wife died sucking on your best friend's cock. You only have to feel bad about that for so long. So we got, the wisdom from Mr. Wednesday on the subject. And then Mr. Wednesday picks and smells a dandelion that has gone to seed. Do dandelions even have smell before they go to seed when they're yellow? This is a white, round, fluffy dandelion.
Yes, they have a smell.
Well, one day I'm going to go pick one too. Okay, so then next scene, we're on the road. Shadow is driving. Wednesday is kind of looking at him. Shadow is glancing at Wednesday, and Wednesday is doing coin tricks. Wednesday, he's got that dandelion in his pocket like it's decorative or something. Who decorates they clothes with dandelions? Mr. Wednesday. He asking him, why you do coin tricks? You don't really have the personality to weave the story. That's what Wednesday is saying to Shadow. Shadow is getting ready to get on the freeway, and Wednesday is like, nah, turn here. We don't do freeways ever. He said, we're going to be meeting with some people preeminent in their fields. We're going to Chicago. And then Wednesday pulls the dandelion out of his pocket. He opens the window, letting the air and his breath disperse the seeds. So is that a secret call to the gods out there in the world? I don't think so. I just thought a lot of the imagery to me is very striking, and a lot, they just, I think it's interesting.
It's a play. It's definitely a play on, subtleties.
Yeah.
For you to pick up on, just things like the wind and, this, sparkling light, stuff like that. They do a good job in this series.
Yeah, I think they do a good job.
Invoking, other presences.
Yeah. And it feels like its own thing. To me, it doesn't really remind me of any other piece. It's got its own look and its own feel. So I really appreciate that. So then we see Wednesday and Shadow. They're in the door of a small town diner. And Wednesday is like, look, I've got a meeting. I want you to do some shopping for me. Here's my list and $1,000. Bring me receipts or don't skim more than 5%. Right. Shadow like, I'm not going to steal from you. And then Wednesday says, if you can't look out for yourself, then how in the hell are you going to look out for me? And I was like, oh.
That was pretty powerful right there.
I thought that was really interesting because I was with Shadow like, I ain't going to steal from you.
But he was just saying, look here, you with me, you rolling with me, go ahead and get what you need,
Mm-hmm.
And,
look out, yeah.
You can appreciate that.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. So then we see Shadow. He's in this Walmart type shop spot. He's got his shopping list. We see Lucille Ball, who we later learn, we have to remind ourselves, is Lucille Ball Ricardo, because she was married. And she's on the wall of TVs. And she says, not so fast, we need to talk. And I'm kind of like, is she talking to Shadow? And then she is talking to Shadow. So she's talking about the top of the line, 35 millimeter, looks like boo-boo on high definition TV. So she's saying, when they shot, she was looking good, but it don't look so good. She looked good on the TV to me, but I watched it on my tablet. But she, she's kind of talking technology and how things change a little bit. And she says she can't even feel the screen. And then Shadow is kind of like a little freaked out. So he unplugs the whole bank of TVs, not just her TV, but the whole bank of TVs. Like, what in the world is Lucille Ball doing talking to me? And then after a pause, she back talking to him again. She says that she wants to offer him a job in her camp. And she said, we are now and tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. He ain't even yesterday. I think she's talking about Mr. Wednesday.
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. She was a part of that same posse with the guy in the limo.
Well, I don't know, because she says, I heard about your trouble. You probably know because you watch further in the series that I have. But I didn't know, because she said, I heard about your trouble with Technical Boy. That's how I knew he was,
Oh, so
she said, I heard about your trouble with Technical Boy.
Maybe they aren't together.
Good job. Give you whatever you want. Don't fight gravity, Shadow. I'm trying to help you. So that's basically the end of that scene. Then we see Shadow. He busting into the diner and he sees Wednesday finishing up with a bearded, curly-haired man with glasses who walks away past Shadow toward the door. And Shadow and Wednesday are in a booth. That's the next time we see him. And Shadow, I think I'm losing my mind. And Wednesday, well, when will you know for sure? Shadow tells him about Lucy. And Wednesday, he basically unmoved. He's like, things will get weirder. You've been singled out. You better, better dead than forgotten. No one will ever forget you. It's an adventure. The world is crazy or you are. Take your pick. Don't rush. When you decide whether the world is crazy or you are, come tell me. There are bigger sacrifices one might be asked to make than going a little mad. Like, all you going is a little crazy. I mean, what you stressing out about? Shoot. So we kind of like, I'm like Shadow, like, I don't know what he done stumbled into or been drawn into or selected for something. We don't know. I'm like, we don't know what the hell is going on. It's wild. It's wild. So anyway,
supernatural.
It's supernatural. So we're on the road again, and Wednesday is looking through a bag, through the bag that, he sent the Shadow shopping. So he looking through the bag. He like, great, you can read a list. He like, wait, what is this? It's a phone he pulls out. And Shadow is like, you don't have one. Wednesday is like, I don't need one.
Right.
Shadow's like, what if someone wants to talk to you? What if I want to talk to you? Shadow holding up his phone.
He took Shadow's and threw it out the window.
And then took his own phone and threw it out the window. He like, Wednesday is like, if you want to talk to me, shout. Use a telegraph. Charms can be learned like anything else. So, that's the end of that scene. So it's kind of like, okay, so we got the old non-technological approach to stuff. I don't know how effective it'll be to shout, but we'll see, I guess. So then we see a naked man floating through outer space, and it's actually the guy from the last episode with the lady in red. Y'all remember the lady in red who absorbed the man into her vagina? This is her man. He floating in space. He got a smile on his face. His little dick is sticking up. He like, woo! So even though he was absorbed into her vagina, he don't look like he in any pain to me. I mean, I'm just saying that's how it looked to me.
He was in heaven.
He was in heaven.
Yeah.
So we're back at the red lady space. Somebody on my comments told me what her name was, but I'm just gonna call her Lady in Red for now. Just forgive my ignorance. And she is panting. She got her legs up and the cover is pulled up to her body, and she blows out the candle. So I don't know if that's her ritual. Every time she absorbs somebody, she blow out a candle. Yeah. And then we see her in the throes with the man. And the man, to me, at first I was like, is that Shadow? But I think it was just a light-skinned, black guy. And then we see her with a woman. Then we see the match struck. Then the candle relit. Then we see her with another man. Then she consumes him. Then we see the candle blown out. Then we see her with a woman. And then, and that's what I was wondering.
A voracious appetite, she does.
She has voracious appetite. And I was wondering, I'm like, does she only absorb men? And then just when I had that question floating around, she absorbs the woman in through her vagina. She's an equal opportunity absorber. She take anybody in. Okay, so then she blows the candle out. Then we see a sculpture of a woman. She's like done in stone. Voluptuous, not overly voluptuous, but like a voluptuous woman. And then we see Our Lady in red, and she's dressed in red, and she's approaching it, this sculpture, and she turns around and she walks toward a case of jewelry, it looks like, and the jewelry transforms, and the red lady sees an impression of a woman's body laid out underneath the jewelry, reading.
I believe that body was hers.
Wearing the jewelry.
Was her.
Oh,
that was her. Yeah.
Oh,
so I think that the goddess, that's who she was. That's why she wanted to be worshipped when people were, experiencing her.
So in the last episode, so to me it was like in the last episode when she started having sex with the man, and she's like, worship me, and he's like, you feel real, it was like he couldn't seem to quite get it. And then all of a sudden, to me, it seemed like
sucking him in.
Oh, that's when he started, because he was almost like the dandy. He was slick with the mouth, and once he got to worshiping her, I was like, well, goddamn,
that was some good stuff. She was saying, what you doing to me?
Right.
What you doing to me?
Right.
You are the goddess. You are the queen of everything. You are the mostest.
Yeah, he was for a corny guy. I mean, he seemed like a corny guy until he got to that. I was like, he talking the talk now.
Yeah, he was.
Okay, so that's it. And this reminds me in Underground of the Daniel vignette. Like, we want to know more about her. We get just enough to kind of know, but we still want to know more. Like, what's her story? What's going on? Because the main thing that we learn about, we deal with Shadow Moon and Wednesday. So anyway, we're back. We see a shot of a map. Then we see Chicago written out, And then we see, a key being put into a lock, the tumbler spinning. And then we see an older woman. She has a white hair a white bun on top of her head. White hair and a white bun. And then Wednesday is like Chinraya. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right. And we see Shadow in the background behind Wednesday. And then we see a whole nother scene. It's like a cow or a bull, and a man in a field. And then the man kills the animal. And the tool that he used to kill the animal looked sort of like an adapted gun almost. It was like a stick, but it was kind of like just chunk. So I was kind of like, anyway, but that's what we see. And then we're back to the older woman. She's in front of the stove. And she says, you're in trouble. And Wednesday, he says, you are beautiful. You have not aged. I have a gift for you. And he gives her, I think it's vodka, which she proceeds to drink the whole bottle like it's water. And these are for your sisters. And your sisters, you and your sisters always keep a beautiful home. So he's brought some binoculars and some romance novels. And then the white-haired bun top, she said, we do okay. We make money here and there. from us, you know, we even pay rent, you know, from time to time. We make money from the slaughterhouse. I wrote slaughterhouse in my notes, so I didn't know what that meant, but it's slaughterhouse. We make money from the slaughterhouse. You know, we do okay. And then we see the coffee being served by one of the sisters to Shadow Moon and Wednesday. Then we see the white hair top bun lady. She says, you know, drink the coffee. And, you know, I'll read your fortune. And Shadow asks her where the bathroom is. And she says the bathroom is the second door, not the third door. The third door is my sister. She's sleeping and she needs her rest. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know what that means, but she was very emphatic about that. That was very important. And then Shadow, while he's going to the bathroom or coming from the bathroom, we see him looking at the binoculars on the floor, and then they're like the doors open and they're slipped into the room, but we never see any person. Then the next thing we see is a man comes out smoking, and he's got a blood-stained shirt. And I think he's the one who killed the cow or the bull earlier. And I was confused for a minute. I'm like, is that the third sister? Because she needs a whole bunch more sleep, because she looked like a daggone man. She ain't, you know, but I think that's somebody that's not the sister. No. She's still sleeping. Yeah. She's still getting a rest. And he comes out, and he's like, that smell. And the white-haired lady with the bun on top of her head is like, we've got 2 guests. And Wednesday is like, nice to see you. I got a gift. And the man pulls a cigarette and throws a lamp, puts out a cigarette. And then he throws a lamp at Wednesday. Wednesday ducks, holds up another gift, which is a wheel of cheese. He real smooth. He don't get upset with people throwing lamps and shit at him. He just, hey, whatever. Oh, Lord, we're out of time. Dang, you chit-chatting. I ran out of time. Because I only got... Okay, so I'm going to do the second part in a minute. Thank you for being here, liking, commenting, subscribing. That's it. I lost it.
All right.
You lost it. I have to do second part another time.